All right, welcome back. We are back with season 24 of the Built on Air podcast. Good to be back with everybody. Hopefully, you had a good couple of weeks since we were last on the air, and we are back for another 8 episodes of this season. Good to be with everyone. Myself, Dan Fellers, Camille Parks, and Ali Alosa. And we are joined by special guest Mike Simmons. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you very much, Dan. Appreciate it.
Good to have you on with us. We'll have more to share with Mike in a second. So yeah, for this first episode, we're going to walk through a couple big events that happened in the Airtable space, as well as some updates and whatnot. But one thing that I noticed, Airtable started calling their events airspace. I don't know when that started, but I think that's what because there's a new one in LA, right? The Air Builder, but they're calling it airspace. And I think the one they did in Europe somewhere, they also called that airspace when I was looking at there. So I figured it was appropriate we start off the show with some of these amazing pictures that just came out over the night of the other side of the moon. And so I don't know if you guys are following this space adventure, but it's pretty amazing.
Incredible. I watched this. Watched the launch with my son, and he was like so excited. He's almost 2.5, so he was just like, blast off, rocket. It was really good.
That's awesome. Yeah, these pictures are pretty amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Cool stuff. So, there you go. So I saw like they were announcing like Airspace LA or something. I was like, oh, is it going to be how like Airtable is used at NASA or something? I wondered. I wouldn't be surprised if NASA is a customer.
Yeah,
could be.
That'd be funny.
There's got to be a builder at NASA somewhere.
Yeah. So we'll see. All right. Okay, with that, since we last left off, there was a couple events. Why don't let's tackle Airtables first. So Airtable had an event called the Airtable Build-a-thon, and it was in New York. And it was an all-day event where basically they had a challenge to use AI to build on Airtable. And I don't know if here we go. Okay, so here's the recap. Lots of pictures, lots of people there. So there is bounty winners. So it doesn't give their full name, just their tag names. And they don't announce. Oh, here it is. Zach Nagin was both a bounty winner and the grand prize winner. Congratulations, Zach walked away with $50,000 from a day in New York. Very cool. Let's see what this says. Okay.
Ali, I know you did not get the chance to attend. Camille, did you get the chance by any chance?
No.
Yeah, I don't think any of us were there.
Yeah, this one was more Airtable AI focused, and that is not my expertise, so I sat this one out.
Yeah.
So it looks like he built an AI-powered creative agency workflow.
Awesome. I'm so intrigued about like what the challenges were specifically. Like I'd love to just know an example of what they had to do.
Let's see. So there is attachment intelligence. So a contract analyzer that automatically extract keys, key details, turning hours, and creative interface element. And then automated content, automated research, and AI and automations.
Okay.
Which, if we go through Zach's, again, I do not know the rules or what criteria was used to decide who the winner was, but everything I could read about Zach's build is it was related to some sort of content creation system. I believe, I might be completely wrong. So that bounty or challenge might have been related. I have no clue, to be honest.
Yeah. We'll need to get, I'll reach out to Zach and see if we can get him on the show. He could talk about what he built. That'd be cool. So yeah, congrats. So Matthew, Zach, Nasir, Don, and Parker were the bounty winners. I think they walked away with 2,000 each. Yeah, 2,000 each. So very cool. All right, so that was going on. But there was also another one, a community-led hackathon that Mike and Ali and Camille all helped judge. Mike, why don't you talk us through what went on here and how it went down?
Sure. So this was the second edition of the hackathon. First edition was back on November last year. That was super fun. Surprisingly or not, we had a lot of interest and engagement when that went down. Originally, the idea was like, basically, I made a post on the Airtable community, on the official Airtable community, like, hey, this could be fun. What are your thoughts? If I get maybe 1 like, I just go with it. And that's pretty much what happened. As it started to grow, or as I saw that people were actually signing up, I was like, oh, this means that I now need to actually organize this, which was not entirely on my plans. That went well back then. Again, first edition, we did not have a theme for it. It was like, hey, free for all, let's just have fun. Let's see what we can come up with. Again, different structure or schema, because back then we decided to have a 48-hour build out time frame or period, with some pros and cons, but basically that made everybody rush on their builds. We did get to see some amazing stuff, super fun build outs. And it is interesting because, again, back then, Airtable was already pushing with their AI features, AI lab. Custom interfaces were only kind of a thing back then. And do remember, this was only a few months ago. So not all submissions included AI features. Do remember that we have 3 different awards for the hackathon, both for this edition and for the past edition. The Grand Jury Award, where Camille and Ali participated as juries, the AI Award, and the which is obviously AI focused, and the Basefluencer Award. Basefluencer Award, it goes to the submission which gets the most amount of likes on YouTube. Okay, and for the last edition, I should double check the numbers, but maybe only 60 to 70% of the submissions used AI, whilst on this other hackathon, the terms were pretty different. Still 3 awards, but we had about 15 days for people to work on their submission, right? 100% of all submissions were AI driven or used AI. And in this case, we did have a theme, which Ali was amazing at choosing, which was let's play, meaning, hey, let's build a game for it. I do not know, and maybe you can help me discuss or understand this. I do not know whether the fact that we had to build a game using Airtable led to people using more and more AI, 100% of the submissions, or whether AI is just a thing and people are finding it really helpful. Whichever the case is, the theme was super interesting, super fun. It made people want to post and share their build outs through the 10 to 15 days building period, which was amazing because we could follow their kind of like build in public stuff through LinkedIn. They were posting on a weekly basis their progress. It was super fun to see progress. I think that also sparked creativity. It also led to the whole kind of point of the hackathon, which is to have some fun, to generate some community, to get to know each other. We're spending, at least in my case, and I can recap to what's my Airtable journey in a few minutes, but basically I'm spending more than a couple of hours a day, maybe sometimes, answering questions in the community. However, I do not personally know each of you, but I did meet Ali, I did meet Erica, and I've been meeting tens, I don't think hundreds, but tens of people throughout this journey. And I do believe that that is kind of the idea or the whole point of the hackathon, to bring us together as a community, to see what we can build and to spark imagination. We'll go through some of those submissions probably in a few minutes, but you'll notice that some of them, they are huge build-outs, really complex, robust build-outs. Other, for instance, mine, it's a very small, specific thing. And that's kind of what I also want to encourage. Hey, we do not really need to build huge things, which, don't take me wrong, they're really I'm really encouraging those kind of build-outs, but just getting something out there, showing some nice feature that we did not know was possible to build with Airtable, or something different, or just have some fun, that should be enough to get the submissions. So that is kind of like the backstory of the hackathon.
Very cool. All right. Should we announce the winners of each category?
Sure.
I know you've already announced it, but which ones are they?
Camilla and Ali, would you like to go with the grand jury?
Yeah, but I'm terrible at names. My goodness. I remember it very clearly.
Yeah. Nicholas Atkins was his name, I believe.
Thank you.
And it was called Last Admin Standing. Was the grand jury award. Yes, down there in the bottom right there. Yes, it was Akins, excuse me. Incredible. Just, I mean, so many of them were so incredible. This was like such a hard, honestly, like every single one was just like mind-blowing. It was a very difficult decision. But his really blew all of us away. It was like every piece you could control on the back end. You could control the like strength of every weapon used in the game. You could like change the imagery, the creative direction. It was all just everything configurable. And it really felt like this could be like a new wave of gaming. It's like personal, like your personal game creation machine.
Yeah, I had my own loose set of criteria when judging of like, how gamey is this game? How much is Airtable like relevant to the build? Because if you go the custom extension route, you're basically building a React app, and your React app doesn't technically have to talk to Airtable at all. So your base could be one table with one field, but that's not really using Airtable. You know what I mean? And with Last Admin Standing, it was like exactly as Ali said. There were so many tables, and each table had fields that directly controlled the like underpinnings of the app or the game itself. And it kind of reminded me of like, if you play like Skyrim or something, at this point, you probably have a lot of mods. You can basically make your own mods for the game. You can go in and change how fast the enemies move, how many enemies are there, which enemies show up at what point. It like every little detail about the game was controllable if you went to view data in Airtable.
And furthermore, Camille, two additional comments on that matter, which is one, I might be wrong, because once again, as mentioned, we do not get full access to the bases. We only get access to what participants show on the demo, right? But if I'm not wrong, most of these things that you are describing, they are AI generated with AI fields in Airtable. So it is currently set or static in the sense that we currently have 4 types of different enemies, but this is dynamic in the sense, this is my understanding again, this is dynamic in the sense that we could be generating as many enemies or tools or weapons or whatever the case is. And I'm pretty sure that they will be pretty fun. The second comment, which is if you pay attention to the description of what's going on in the game, it's something like what's the word for it, especially in English, like a hunted workspace. So it is not only created using Airtable, but it's also Airtable related in the sense that the whole idea or the backstory to it is it's a hunted Airtable workspace, and different Airtable related things or challenges are coming along. So that was super fun or cute for it.
Yeah.
Yes, I love. Yeah, you
And
play as the
that
last.
was a theme as well.
Yeah.
Like Airtable being a meta component of the game itself. We featured friends with Airtable on the podcast before, and it's kind of like demo state, and that one was very much like, oh, learn how to use Airtable using this game built in Airtable.
Which, whenever we're ready, we can move forward with Lisa's submission because she won the AI award. What is really, really cool about so we were having some moments ago a discussion where we see, or at least I speak for myself, we have two different sets of submissions. A few of them, or many of them, to be honest, which went really, really heavy lifting on the AI custom interfaces aspect of Airtable, which is amazing because, as Dan will probably show in a minute, great things can be built, such as Friends with Airtable. However, it does seem kind of far from what we've been seeing for so many years in Airtable. So this other set of submissions were really leveraging AI native interfaces, but using some AI on the back. The distinction is really fun to see, and Lisa's is a great example of what actually can be built to taking it to its limits for the AI custom interfaces using Airtable. As I believe it was Ali who was mentioning, no, Camila, I think she was mentioning. Basically, the idea of this submission is, hey, if you do not know how Airtable works exactly, or if you're starting out, let me show you around some sort of like Airtable Academy, but gamified in such a way that really makes it really, really fun. Basically, you are interacting with different characters from the Friends show, and they have actual references to stuff that happens on the different episodes. So that is really fun. The only thing I might mention is, but this is not something Lisa's lagging behind with, but it's just what we can achieve with the Airtable custom interfaces, is that when setting up automations, for instance, through the game, because one of the prompts or challenges is, hey, you need to build this automation to help Joey do whatever. The interface or the experience is not exactly the same as what we would find on the back end when building automations, but there is no way we can actually achieve that. So I must say this was amazing. The fact that she was able to move through the game, just talking to different characters, that was something else. I really, really loved this. And once again, same comment as for the previous submission. It's interesting to see how this is a game, but it's also Airtable related. So not only built with Airtable, but Airtable related. I love that stuff. So congratulations, Lisa.
Yes, I really loved this one, and it was just so funny. Like, I love she had so many little like just jokes in there, like thrown in. If you're a big fan of Friends, I'm sure they're just. I haven't seen a ton of it, so I'm sure there's a lot I'm even missing, but I can pick up on how intricate all the like jokes and everything are in this. And I love how she pointed out, she was like, it's going to be a simulated Airtable view in her video, which was really well done as well. And I loved the theme, the idea of like teaching how to use Airtable as a gamified experience. It's just chef's kiss.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah, this one, very impressive, especially for the AI award, because if I'm not mistaken, she started with like completely blank and prompted her whole way through. So, like Mike said, some were you go in, you build your own kind of foundation, and then you use AI to sort of help you along the way. This one was like start to finish. I'm using Omni, and Omni's going to help me build every little component, including the back end. And you'll see, look at the tables. It also is highly controlled from the base itself, which was ranked high on my criteria of the schema's got to matter if it's inside an Airtable base.
100%.
And if I remember correctly, when she came on, she did not have a background in software development or anything. So she's really jumped into this without a ton of that background experience.
She caught the bug for Airtable, like the rest of us. She's a citizen developer and is fallen in love with it.
Yeah. So cool. So what so this one of the categories?
Yes,
AI award.
the AI award.
Okay. Cool.
Yes.
And for last, this is usual suspects, right? We have Erica winning the Basefluencer Award. She won last year as well. Last year, if I'm not wrong, she won both the Basefluencer and Grand Jury. I know she won two. I do not remember exactly Basefluencer
Yeah.
and what else. I think it was Grand Jury, right? You guys.
Not the Grand Jury, it was AI award.
The AI award, where she built this amazing either dodgeball, softball.
Yeah, her dodgeball. It was about her dodgeball career.
Mhm.
It was
Yeah,
really cool, and it could even create workout plans for her.
Yeah, that was super interesting. So going back to Erica's submission for this edition, she built what she calls what's a telephone Pictionary, but in Airtable. I'm not 100% familiar with how telephone Pictionary works, but my understanding is something around the lines of somebody writes a sentence, we pass it over, we draw something. By the end of the round, we need to understand kind of or see the differences between or how close we got to the initial sentence, right? This is a great example of what I was saying, how we have like actual native interfaces. For instance, this seems to be the previous one seemed to be a record review page layout on interfaces. And that kind of things I really miss when I see, don't get me wrong, this other crazy interfaces all over the place with flashy colors, so on and so forth. They are amazing, but I definitely love, and by the way, record review page layout is my personal favorite. So having said that, yes, this was super fun. And the other fun comment about it is that this is kind of like a multiplayer game, which involves multiple parties playing together, which brings us back to what Russ and Jessica built, which was some completely different, but something similar in the sense that can be played by multiple parties. So again, Erica, congratulations again, and thank you for being part of the grand jury this year. And whilst we're at it, thank you, Camille, and thank you, Ali, as well.
Of course. Thank you. It was wonderful. I loved Erica's. She had an AI generating lists of verbs and nouns so that it could pick a verb and a noun and like use these two keywords to create a silly random sentence, like to use as the prompt for the drawing, which I thought was really cute.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Can we look at Russ's was like absolutely insane.
Russ's, that was called
Low Code Breaker.
Yeah, Code Breaker.
And the other one, after going through Russell's, that I'd like to spend 2 minutes on is, I think it's called Heroes of No Code. That was something else. I definitely loved that one.
Absolutely. Russ's was absolutely wild. They had this like really novel thing included in this game. Was the only one, except Erica's you could play as well, I believe, but
yeah, you could.
Russ's built was like to be shared amongst everybody that wanted to copy it. And the way he did it was he had a base that he built that was in his own workspace. It had automations in it. And when you click a link that was in the description of this YouTube video, it adds you as a read-only user to that base. And then you duplicate that read-only, your access to that base. You duplicate it into your own workspace. And it comes with a couple tables that are from his workspace as well that sync out into yours. And that's key because it lets you connect to all the other players that have downloaded the base or have copied the base into their workspace and play against them and see the leaderboard as well. And so when you copy that base, there's a couple little steps that he had you take where you turn on an automation, copy a webhook that it had in it and connect to his Airtable server, in air quotes, and that would let you find a player, an opponent, and actually play the game. And I've played it twice now. It was really fun.
Which let me say two things about it. One, Russell was super bummed out when, in fact, Russell was the one who reached out to me and said, like, hey, Mike, will we be able to share games somehow to actually get people to play? And that's when I reached out to Airtable and say, hey, can we do something about it? Again, we're still hopefully working on it. I don't think that will be the case, but maybe for the next edition, if we do something similar, we might get something different. But he was really, really interested in the actual experience of the end user, where they could actually get to play what they were building. They were spending a lot of time on it, a lot of effort on it, and they did really wanted this to be something fun. The second thing that I want to mention is it's crazy to me to see how many people, not sure how many of them, but even if 3 did something similar, that's a lot for me, used synced tables. Reason why I hate syncing. Whenever possible, I try to avoid syncing. So only the fact, except when a couple of things happen, either you really need to bypass the record count limit, or you're building something that needs to be separate basis for confidential information or sensitive information. So unless those 2 criteria are met, I try to avoid syncing as much as possible. So the fact that they did this just for fun, that was impressive to me.
Very cool. All right. One more. What was the other one you wanted
to? Try Heroes of No Code.
Heroes of No Code. All right. Here we go.
I love this guy's energy. It was good.
Yeah.
Greg. All right.
So
about
if you click through it, so basically this is, I'm not familiar with the original game he is basing this out of, but basically the story behind this is you are a no-code consultant, you select your character, you select a couple of skills or something like that, and you're dropped in this map and you start clicking around it. What his clicking has 2 things to it. There are tiles. As you'll be able to see, you have like green tiles, gray tiles, so on and so forth. I believe that each of them means something different, but what's more important than, by the way, those tiles, they are AI generated and they are found on the back end. So that is something that for sure Camille will really love, as you really get to see the Airtable structure of it. And within the tiles, or within the some of these tiles, you get these, I do not remember what he calls them, but whatever is popping up is like either benefits or challenges that you face. And that also has their own place within the Airtable backend, and all pictures for it were AI generated in bulk. So the backend, and again, he is syncing. So that's enough for me. So this was a really fun and interesting game, and pretty robust, I would say.
Yes, this was just like that last admin standing. This was like, I loved both of these for that reason. It's like all the images you could have in your game as well. Like everything was all driven by this back end.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool. Look at that.
Just absolutely incredible. Like every single one. If we could look at them all, I would be like, I feel bad not looking at them all, just because every single one I'm like, oh wait, and that no-hit music bracket challenge, like Sean McGregor's, that was great. I loved that one too. It was super cute.
I was particularly fond of Darn Tootin', which was like a murder mystery. Not really a murder mystery, but it was in the format of like a noir. Like you would go in and you would investigate a crime.
And again, please correct me if I'm wrong, Camille, but I believe that one was, again, using this sort of native Airtable interfaces, right? Yeah, love that. I think I have something with record review, but they're
Mine,
really good.
yeah, the test I did, I didn't submit it officially, but I demoed it on the podcast. Also used record review. It's the best one for games, apparently.
I love it. I have a qualm with record review. It would be my favorite layout, but it's the problem is it's a detail page, but you can't reuse it.
Exactly.
And something, now don't get me started, because if you used them about a year ago and you duplicated one, it kept the original name, which is not the name that's on the sidebar. So it's like under the hood, it's like inbox detail 1, inbox detail 2, that doesn't match the name that you give it, which became really confusing when they came out with Sandbox, because that's the name it shows you, not the name that you see. So if they just used detail pages, then you wouldn't have that problem, because they don't have that behavior.
Just let me point it at a detail page. That would be, I'd use it again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that is absolutely true, because that makes it hard for scalability, because if you need to change things around and you have both the record review and you have a detail page, you'll need to go, and we have multiple times so many of these ones, you need to change things all around. So that is absolutely a great point. Now, Camille, you bring something up that has been on my mind for some time now, and I might be doing something completely off or not understanding something. I'm having a very hard time when working in Airtable, when I check for dependencies on a given field, for instance, and I'm seeing what interfaces are affected by this field or where this field is being used. Am I correct that I'll call it breadcrumbs, I have no clue how to call it this, but what's being shown on the dependencies tab is not really clear. Like it says something like a name of a page, it says detail, it says grid or something like that, but I always have a hard time whenever it's not super clear where that is found. I just go, okay, it seems that I'll need to break this, and a month from now I'll figure out what that was.
Yeah.
Am I missing something?
No, because I do the same thing. Because those links also aren't clickable. Now, I brought up Sandbox, and Sandbox does give you a clickable link to go to the page, so that's helpful. But the dependency checker does not have it. So good luck finding where that detail page is used, especially if you have like 5. So which of the several interfaces points to the one that has,
Yeah.
I have
the biggest pain. And they need an interface to show you all of the record detail pages, so you can at least go to that page and at least click through them.
One of my coworkers just built, like, they used the blank layout, and she just put like stacked 5 like grids on top of each other, and the sole purpose was just to show each one was tied to a different detail page. And I was like, we shouldn't have to do this, but this was a good idea.
Yeah, I've done that many times, and I have 2 pieces of advice. One is always, the second you create a detail page, name it. Give it a unique name. Don't just leave it as record detail, because then you'll be even more lost. You won't know where you're looking for in your dependencies. Like, give it a name of the table. Then in the dependencies, the one thing that I have noticed that's a little helpful, I agree, it's a complete like mess about where you're actually trying to look in the interface, but they do have a little icon next to, if you click on the detail page, then there's a little icon next to the things underneath it. One of them might be like, it's like a test tube or like a beaker, right? A flask. It's the filter icon is what it actually represents. And so you see that icon, you know you're looking for a filter somewhere. Whereas if it's like a little list icon, it's like probably just displayed in the list. But still, you don't know which filter.
I will also say sometimes it's not like you have set the filter for the page. If you have like a list that opens a detail page, any field that's on the detail page is a possible filter for the end user on the page. So it's more like it's either the setting that you have done on the page, this field is used in the filter, or it's a possible end user filter, and it's just saying end users won't be able to filter by this if you remove the field. And sometimes I don't want to be warned about that because that's not really a setting.
I ran into a bug the other day where I had a field set as the end user filters, the drop downs at the top of the page. I deleted it out of the base because I didn't need it anymore. And I was like, whatever, I don't care about it being deleted from that user filter. And it removed it. It was no longer visible on that screen. But then I couldn't publish the page because it was saying there was a broken field. And it was weird. It was just like, it totally broke everything. I had to go back and restore the field and then physically delete the dropdown and then delete the field.
I've never had it stop me from publishing a page. In fact, it's all too happy to publish a page where like the whole list is just broken.
Yeah, it was really strange. I'd never seen that happen before.
Okay. Let's go through a couple announcements, updates, and then Mike, we'll come back and see what you've got. And if you want, you can share your screen. It won't go live till I put it on there. But so yeah, big congrats to everybody who submitted. There's amazing stuff. We'll put a link to these submissions. Congrats to the winners, but everybody put a ton of effort into each of these. So congrats to all. Is there already news for round 3, or what's the plan for the future, Mike?
Oh, that's a good one. For sure, we do not have news right now. However, we will absolutely have 3rd edition, 4th edition, so on and so forth. Probably, I mean, I should discuss with Ali how much you can undertake and see what we can achieve. But I guess we would probably have either 1 or 2 additional editions this year. A couple of things that are on the back of my mind since we started with this, based on a couple of the feedback or comments that I received when people signed up, is it would be amazing to have a live on-site version of this, either async where, hey, this is still remote, but in a couple of cities, we have enough quorum as to join or have people meet for it. Or say, hey, we'll have this edition will be fully live and on site. I don't think the latter, most probably the former. I don't think that will be anytime soon, but that would be my end goal. To actually get to meet Ali in person, for instance, that would be nice. And for sure, most of the other builders who I did not meet yet. And do remember, did I mention this live? I'm based out of Buenos Aires, Argentina. We're pretty cool and chill people here, but not everybody is into Airtable. So getting something done on site would be very nice.
Yeah, cool. All right, that is the community hackathon. And okay, a couple. Let's start over here. So the what's new since we last checked in. Not a whole lot. I'm realizing that there's other places where Airtable is announcing new features. So we'll just go through these quickly and then we'll look at some other. So something that came out in March, 3 new ways to collaborate on your records. So let's see what we got. So attach files to comments. So you can now find more things that are hidden that are hard to get access to. You can resolve comments and you can search notifications. Let's look at these.
This one was like close to what I wanted. Like I like that you can resolve comments, but it still shows up as like the comments badge of how many comments are on a record, which I understand, but it's the reason I'm resolving is like I don't want this in my face anymore. I kind of want to be notified about a brand new thing that I need to address, not things that are already resolved. And then the searching notifications, I wish you could search comments or revision history, but you can't. You can search your notifications, which is not quite the same.
Mm-hmm.
Helpful, but not what I thought it was going to be just by reading the list.
Yeah, that's true.
Great.
Yeah, and comments. I'm curious if they updated the API comments to retrieve. That's where like comments are so hidden and so hard to expose that we typically don't use them at all.
Then are you making reference to the fact that you cannot retrieve, like, list all comments, but only on a record basis? Or what are you making reference to?
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah. But ideally, you could be able to like sync all your comments into a base or something, into a table.
That would be nice. Because you can do it with the API, but
it's
inefficiently.
Yeah. So that's one. And then this one, I don't know who's all using Databricks or Snowflake, but now you can do custom queries against it for your view in. So I don't know, any of you guys using? I'm not using either of those.
No, this is obviously more enterprise coded, but like the idea of you have a larger data set that doesn't quite fit in Airtable. I'm not too sure from like a practical standpoint with HyperDB. They have this feature of like, you can temporarily load the entirety of the table and only like link to the records that matter for whatever base you're in. But with Snowflakes and Databricks, which are also, store millions of records, that feature's not available. So you have to set your SQL query up top. So you have to know in advance which records you need to pull into Airtable. So it doesn't quite address, sometimes you need a lot more data than can naturally fit.
Yeah. There we go. All right. Couple other things that they announced in their community. It seems like the community announcements is where to look for new feature releases more so than the what's new.
I think some of these are not necessarily new, but they're like recently replied to.
That's right. Yeah, so this is 5 months ago. I was gonna say I thought that this came out, but then they announced that it's now maybe general release, or maybe it was just a comment that. Okay, so yeah, it's just a comment that made it look new. Yeah, good call. Okay, so some of these, yeah, that's not new. Deep
that one
agent. This one. Okay, deep match field agents, a new type of field agent that finds and links the most relevant record. Is that new?
Relatively, it's within a month.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
GA.
Oh yeah, 1 month ago. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that's a new one. Have not used that.
No, I haven't used it either. It's potentially pretty useful. So you don't need like a complicated automation, for example, of match this record to this other record, given like the find record step in Airtable is still kind of limited because you can't have condition groups, but the deep match feature seems like it can handle that level of complexity.
Yeah.
I have not been using it. Sorry, I have not been using it for actual real purposes. I did play around with it a lot. Initially, it took a very, very, very long time to find the corresponding matches, if it found them at all. Before, I think it had some sort of timeout error if it took too long. I'm not 100% sure about it, but I do know that it took way too long. That was a big issue. In fact, I'm pretty active in the Airtable community, and I saw plenty of different comments or interactions where, hey, this is taking too long, this is not working with big bases. And lately, the whatever I've been reading changed drastically. Like, hey, I'm now playing around with big bases or big tables, and it is working. I do not know what the limit is to the amount of records that it can actually read and understand which ones actually should match based on the conditions or prompt that you apply. But I would say that this is pretty helpful, and I'm sure that I'll be using this pretty soon.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
so
I have a.
does it automatically link, or you can turn it to
It does.
right there.
Yeah, my biggest question is like, I mean, assuming it works and assuming it works well, is it more expensive, in air quotes, than just running the automation? Like, say you have like you need everything to be linked to, like, keep it linked to this record, or you have the value in a formula field, and you're like, this is the record I need. An automation would just take that value, paste it in, or like, find the record, whatever, however you prefer. But this could just do it directly. You don't need an automation, but does it use a lot of credits? Is it going to be slowing your base down? Is it, I don't know what's more worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And the other question might be, if it uses credits or a lot of credits, does the credit usage depend on the size of the table you are trying to link to? Because
Right.
if I have huge bases, that is usually when this would come in handy. And if that becomes too expensive, that might be an issue. But either way, I do like this approach or this feature.
Yeah, I'm excited about the possibilities that brings. Absolutely.
Okay, this one's not new. That one's not new. I was gonna say I don't remember them. Okay, there's the build-a-thon we already went through. Okay, so I think the other Google Drive, that's not new. Is that new? 6 months ago. No. Okay. And that one, okay. Then the other one, so on their LinkedIn, actually, I think, Mike, you're in here, aren't you?
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, there I am.
Best community connector. So these are community awards. I love how they give themselves awards. Best new product launch with agents.
Okay, interesting.
To us.
Yeah, congrats, Max, as well.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Max. Okay, so here's a couple other things that they announced through their LinkedIn. So the MCP Builder Tools is rolling out to GA. So the official MCP, I think, Mike, is that what you're using?
Not exactly. My point is, I'm usually, just because I'm lazy and I never connected to the official MCP, I'm still using the unofficial MCP. So there is this connector, this unofficial MCP that has been rolled out by different users or whomever wanted to build that several, maybe at least a month before the official MCP went out. I thought that the official MCP would have additional capabilities. Again, I did not play around with it, so I might be missing something, but I don't think I'm missing out on a lot yet. Most probably they will be working on it, maintaining it, pushing upgrades or updates to it. But that was fun.
Yeah. Okay.
And by the way, what is your experience? Did you guys play around with any of the MCPs? And do you have any thoughts or opinions?
I played around with it a year ago, so probably the unofficial one as well. So I need to try out the new one.
Yeah, haven't yet.
Yeah. But they do have, I don't know if this talks about it. There was a recent webinar talking about connecting Claude with it. So that's one worth watching if you want to go through. I'm assuming the new Claude connector for Airtable. So I don't know if that probably uses the MCP underneath. But they also released, here we go. So Victoria released some Claude skills that you can use as well. And this one I've looked at. I need to install these and use. Kind of created my own. So that's worth checking out. Okay, they've upgraded their models, their AI models that they support under the hood. So That's good. These are the most recent ones, I believe, for Opus and Sonnet. I believe that's the most recent. So that's good. They're up to date there now. And there's announcing Zach. I think that's all the, yeah, so Cloud Connector, that's worth checking out. I think that's all cool. All right, we got maybe a few minutes. I don't know, Mike, if you want to share something.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Oh yeah, we have a few minutes. I could share my screen and kind of do a live demo of what I showcased on my submission for the Airtable hackathon. Let me see if I can share this adequately. Almost there.
Yeah, there you are.
You can see my screen, right?
Yep.
There it goes. Okay. So basically, a few days before the hackathon, I was like, hey, what can I build? What could be something fun? I could not come up with any fun or interesting idea. So then I said, hey, maybe I'm thinking about this with the wrong approach. Actually, what would I like to know more, or what would I like to see from Airtable? Thinking about different games, thinking about different things, I thought like, hey, could Airtable reproduce sound? Maybe for developers, this is like, hey, obviously, if you're running this and that on the custom interfaces, it obviously can reproduce sound. Well, I do not come from a technical background. I don't have a technical background. I have no clue what I'm doing. And for whatever amount of years, we were not able to reproduce sound within Airtable interfaces, nor within the backend. So this was something different. I spent the whole time thinking, hey, now if I can do that, then I could potentially do some sort of Guitar Hero game. Now, if I get to reproduce sound, how would I actually be able to showcase or show some sort of guitar or whatever? I said, okay, one step at a time. First thing I did is, next thing that morning is, I went into Airtable. This is exactly what you see. This is as dirty as I did it. Actually, if you come, this is a blank dummy base, right? If you go to interfaces, build it yourself, build an interface, I'll move forward with it. And I try to build something custom. Guess what? You cannot do that, right? So that's the reason why we have this table one, because I needed to start somewhere just to get things up and running. So second thing I did is, let me try to find this. By the way, sorry if you hear my dog snoring on the back. Right here, this is the discussion that I had initially with Omni. Let me try to read it, but basically create a custom interface called test with 3 buttons. Upon clicking on them, each should reproduce an actual sound, musical notes. By the way, whomever is trying to do something similar, I would suggest, my understanding is that whenever we're trying to build something on custom interfaces, I think it works regardless, but I usually select within the tools, generate a custom element. Either way, this is what I did, and this is what Omni came up with. I don't think you'll listen to any sound coming out or from my interface, but basically I had this 3 buttons where each of them, I can hear that, reproduces a different sound. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, wow, this is really, really powerful. Not just because it can reproduce sound, because actually none of my clients will do anything with sound coming out of their interfaces, but just realizing that this is way more powerful than what we usually tend to think about it, which for sure will trigger different use cases in the future. Again, not the sound per se, but hey, if it can reproduce sound, then most probably we can do X or Y, embed videos or do whatever. So as soon as I saw that, I said, okay, this is actually possible. So I went and also I said, hey, this is a great opportunity to play around with Cloud and the unofficial MCP. So I went into Cloud, which I could share, but I don't want to take a lot of our time. I'll have it on my side. first message. I created this base in Airtable. First message to Cloud. I think I'm using Cowork. Yes, I'm using Cowork. I was like, hey, connect to this base, whatever the name of the base is. Cloud does his thing. It connects. Okay, I'm now thinking about building this game. I know that Airtable can reproduce sound based on a given test that I did. I want to build some sort of Guitar Hero game. On my mind, I know that I should have for sure a table for songs. I should have a table for whatever notes are played within the songs. So I'll go left to right. We have songs. Again, we have 3 of them right here. We have the name of the song, the artist, the bits per minute. This is something that I mentioned on my video. This is really interesting because whilst this fields, they are kind of like something that's shown on the screen on the interface just to have a tag for the name. The bits per minute, for instance, actually makes the song have its own rhythm, right? Or its own like bits per minute. Duration, it works in a similar way. It actually tracks how long we need to play the song for. Again, difficulty, it's not doing much other than alerting the player how hard or easy the song is. Genre, same thing. And then we'll go into the notes. This, as you can see, we are not actually tracking the note as whether it's a C, a D, a E, or whatever, but what key should be played. Usually guitars will have 6, how do you call them, chords?
Yeah.
Okay, 6 of them. Guitar Hero, I don't think they have 6, and therefore we're not using actual notes, but what key should be pressed, where each key on the front end, on the custom interface, has a different sound that gets reproduced by them, right? The other thing that's interesting is that we get the time offset. And as you can see, we have, for instance, this is the note ID, which will say this is happy birthday to you song, note 1, note 2, note 3. So then on the front end, what we're doing is, hey, how much time what's the difference in time between note 1 and note 2? That's one thing. The other thing that we're doing is whether the note it's just a single tap on the note, or whether we need to sustain or hold such key. If so, meaning if we need to hold such key, for how long do we need to hold that key? So all of that information is being used by the front end to actually show the full song to you. The last table, so this was kind of my discussion back and forth with Cloud Code, right? Or with Cowork, actually. The last thing that we have is actual plays. So these are all the different plays with the corresponding player name, the score, the accuracy, the max combo, how many right keys you hit, and basically what's the final outcome result in terms of stars as a rating and the date. What's interesting to see here is that usually, as we were previously discussing, the architecture of Airtable bases, even if it hurts because I love the regular standard academic kind of architectures, they do change a lot because a lot of the processing is being done by the way, we'll go into the interface in a minute, but a lot of the data processing, meaning which keys, how accurate I was, so on and so forth, is being processed by the front end itself, and it's pushing to the back end only the actual data needed. I'm not showing which keys I played, which keys I actually got right and which ones I failed, but I'm just getting the aggregated results for it. In a similar way as if going the other way around, and this might be complex, but going the other way around for interfaces, we don't need to build all this kind of roll-ups on the back to show them on interfaces, but we just have certain elements that roll up that information for us. In this case, we're going the other way around. So as an end result, what we have is, if we go right here, we have different versions of the actual game. First one, this is songs. To be honest, the reason why I have this is because, once again, I cannot trigger the creation of a custom page without having something on my interface. So I'm just listing the different songs. We have a couple of versions of this, either because I did not like the design or because they did not work at all. So in this case, if I want to play the notes, if I do this, I will hear some sound because it seems that notes are hitting these keys at some point in time, but I don't get to see anything. This one, my thought was, hey, this is too kind of like arcade or electronic. I do not love it. However, it does work really good because it's really loud. And this one, I did like the design to it. I asked, by the way in which I was working with this is I was building the first versions using Omni, but then I was pushing the code to Cloud Code to see, hey, what can we improve with it? I had some back and forth with it before I pushed back the latest version of it. FYI, for anybody who is not 100% sure of what it is that I am doing, if I click, so once again, I was here with this outer border. If you click on the actual canvas, for instance, and you see that this is a page custom, right here you have 3 dots. If you click on edit source code, you will get redirected to this view where you can actually play around with this. So basically still manual because we do not have a great connector to do this this is my understanding, from Cloud itself. So basically what one would do is you would copy this and paste it on the other side and then come back with a polished version. Do note that if you make changes in this way, as soon as you do those changes, you will not be able to go back and use Omni with this version. Because for some reason, I believe that Omni is not aware of what changes have been made. It detects that changes have been made without Omni taking care of them, and you will not be able to do that. So before making changes, you might want to duplicate the corresponding page. Either way, do note that you do have the history of such source code. Okay, either way, and just to round up the idea, we now have this better looking page. We have some Airtable color palette. We even have somebody, maybe Howie, on the right dancing to whatever we are playing. And this does work, meaning that both notes come right there. And as I press keys, that works. And Howie's dancing on the side, so he's happy. And therefore I'm happy. So that's basically the full journey of how I built this, which was try to understand whether Airtable can reproduce sound, build a very basic MVP, play around and have some fun with Cloud Code, and push the final version after a couple of iterations. But it was really interesting to see that that can be achieved, and also what the Airtable MCP using Cloud Code is capable of doing and what it is not capable of doing. I have a couple of takes on that. This was a great opportunity. And finally, this is something that maybe took less than an hour or so, and it was still super fun to build, super insightful to understand what can be done and what cannot be done, and it still makes for a fun Airtable hackathon submission. And therefore that's when, hey, I encourage you, we definitely love them, but we do not need the most robust and complex systems out there to be submitted. Something fun that sparks creativity, we can discuss them, it will be fun, we'll see some new things, and that should be enough to have some fun for the Airtable hackathon next edition.
Love it. Oh, Dan, you're muted.
Oh, Dan, you're muted.
There we go. Sorry. Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Mike, and for your work there with the hackathon. I think the moral of today's show is Airtable is no longer a business process platform. It's a gaming platform. So build your games, have your fun. And we'll wrap up here. We'll be back next week with some more insights and tips and tricks. And good to be with you. And thanks again, Mike, for joining. And good luck in future hackathons.
Thank you very much, Dan. Thank you all for having me. This was super, super fun.
See ya.